I always say like abs aren't really impressive unless you're like in the 250 range,
Right.
because to me like crackheads have abs, like, homeless people have abs. My 10-year-old little brother had awesome abs when he was 10. You know, these are not people that inspire me. You know what I mean? So. First time I started lifting weights, I was like maybe 11 years old, and I had a Hulk Hogan weight set, the American Hero one, and they were full of sand. I mean, I would do, on a regular basis, I would do bench press probably every day, shoulder press every day. I did wrestling in middle school and beginning of high school. The first program I ever did training where I actually made sense, it was an actual program, was when I went to a sort of a correctional school, and there was, the only thing they had really was a powerlifting type training. Okay, there was no wrestling, there was no sports, there was intramural stuff and powerlifting. So there was a teacher who was a teacher coach, taught me he did powerlifting, and he taught me how to like set up and do bench press and squat and all that, and that stuck with me for my whole life. Obviously, it's become my career. I did my first powerlifting competition when I was 16. You know, it was like AAU rules, like a high school type deal. I think I benched 300 pounds. And maybe 2 years later, before I graduated, I benched 400 pounds. I kind of progressed from there and got into bodybuilding. And I did really well at bodybuilding. You know, I got to national level relatively quickly. I had an endorsement contract with a supplement company, you know, and made a career out of it right away. From bodybuilding, I thought bodybuilding was the next logical step from powerlifting, but it turned out that, you know, powerlifting was where I really belonged. Oh, I never really fit in as a bodybuilder. I wanted to lift heavy ass weights, man. That was the only thing that made me feel alive, was getting under weights that were scary. I always have pushed the limit of what was okay to do and what wasn't, you know. How can it work for both of them? It's logical, it's progressive, it's scalable. Okay, that's how. I have, like, you know, I talk about this all the time with a lot of different people. Like, you know, can something work for beginners and also work for people that are advanced? Absolutely. I mean, I'm not the best lifter in the world, but I'm definitely advanced. I'm elite. You know, I compete at the biggest meets that there are. You know, I only will do those meets. You know, because that's what I'm gonna challenge myself to the highest judging standards. So, you know, that's one side of the coin. I also have people that have been lifting for 6 months, you know. And what do you do with beginners is a question I get a lot. Like, what, you know, do they have to train differently? Yeah. But the way that my stuff is set up, it works for beginners, and it makes beginners into intermediates, and intermediates into experts, and experts into better experts, you know, into masterful lifters. You know what I mean? Because it has all the components, addresses all the components, all the needs. You know, a lot of time under the bar, a lot of repetition, yes, has that. You know, intense work, yes, has that. And working with a percentage scheme, a lot of people aren't a fan of using percentages for beginners, and I don't understand why. And I have them where they'll do the percentage stuff. We'll work with a max for them and figure out what a max is off of a rep max, okay? And I'll just run it because they're beginners. I don't worry about doing a 5-cycle deal because I'm there working with them. You know, if I'm working with them in person, it's easier that way because if I see a problem, I can fix it. But I won't recommend generally that someone just run it and keep going forever, but adding 5 a week. But they'll add 5 a week, and pretty soon they're working with their max for 5th set. They're working with that weight before we've even taken another max. You know what I mean? So like where, you know, someone who might have a 200-pound max, we start with 80%, and I just let them roll, and they're working with 200 pounds eventually for sets of 2, and then an all-out set, you know, and they're hitting their max for reps. So it does work for beginners in that way. If you can get people when they're young and get them there quickly while they're still healthy, sky's the limit, you know. I think we're gonna see a lot of bigger numbers. Like, it's as I always say, if you're willing to work, I'll do anything I can to help you. You know, if somebody wants to work with me and they're gonna work, they're gonna come, like they're gonna actually make effort and come. I used to drive 3 hours fucking 3 times a week to train with people, just to listen to them and watch what they did. You can't come 2 hours to learn from 3 of the best people at this in the seminar. Like, fuck, you don't really want it. You know, the people that are good because they wanted it. You know, that's the way it works. You got to go after that shit. You know.